hold on your destiny against all odds. And we are still on Ruth. Now in Ruth chapter 1, we hear of how Naomi and their husband Elimelech decided to leave Bethlehem, Judah, into Moab, into the land of Moab, simply because there was famine. There was famine in the land. And because there was famine in the land, they migrated to Moab, Elimelech and the wife. And there, their two sons married women or daughters of Moab, Moabites. And they lived there. But then, we see in this book of Ruth that this man Elimelech did not survive. He moved from the land of famine. Famine has a tendency to kill. But then he goes into abundance, and abundance has also got a tendency to kill. You can be in a land of abundance, survived physically by abundance, but something else probably can take your life out. Then the two sons also died prematurely. So Naomi's husband dies. Ruth and Orpah's husbands, who are the two sons of Naomi and Elimelech, they also die, leaving behind 3 widows without a husband in a land that is meant to be full of harvest, in a land where there's meant to be physical nourishment. Then I got understanding that it doesn't take food to sustain a human being. It takes something beyond food. It takes something beyond nutrients for the physical body to sustain you. There is something in the spiritual realm that can sustain you. I know people who can go hungry for months, not properly nourished, but with the spiritual nutrition and with the presence of God, they are able to sustain themselves and reach out to goals. They leave a land where a man called Boaz, who did not migrate because of famine, but endures the famine, endures the hunger, endures all the pain and all the frustration, and out of that dryness and out of that famine, God is able to give a Boaz successful field and successful business as a farmer, and builds wealth out of this famine. Go and endure through all the famine, go through all the dry season. And then people who could not handle the famine, they leave the famine land, go into a place that promises to be good, but they return back into the place where there was famine. Now the people they left behind are now flourishing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to understand to you there are many things that can contribute to your pain. There are many things that can withstand your destiny. There are many things that can fight you, but if only you can hold on to the cross, if only you can lay onto the cross, if only you can lay onto the hand of the Lord, there may be war against you, there may be everything against you, there may be famine in your land, there may be challenges in your land, there may be medical situations in your land, there may be all forms of famine, but there is a God who is able to send provision from above. Even though the victory may not blossom, but even in your praise and your glorifying God, I hear God tell me that those who are steadfast, those who stand and look up unto their most high God, those who know that deliverance comes from above, those who know that promotions come from above, those who make the name of the Lord their salvation, those who make Mount Zion their dwelling place, even though they may be famine, but the Lord is able to show mercy. Divine abundance is able to provide, and I pray that may God release the dew of heaven over your life. May God cause you to blossom in the land of a famine. Somebody shout and put your hands together and bless him. I read and I asked, why didn't Boaz also travel? But he chose to leave. And then Ruth, Naomi says goodbye to Ruth, and Ruth refuses to go. Ruth decided that I'm not going. Naomi emphatically said, return to your people and your gods. When you read it, small g, your gods. And Ruth decided, that is what you see me. But as I stand here, I want to go with you and your God, capital G. I respect your God. You look down upon me. You call me to go back. This is an opportunity for me, for you to win a convert into your nationality. This is an opportunity, but you want me to go, but you have no idea. In your old age, you have lived in my land for 10 years. In your old age, you've got an opportunity for a daughter, even though you have no son, but just take me as your daughter, because even though you don't have a son, but you can have one daughter that can give you more than two sons can give you. You can have one daughter who can give you more than two sons can give you. Say, your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Wherever you dwell, I will dwell also. Wherever you dwell. And that declaration changed Ruth's life. Go with me to Ruth chapter 1. Let me pick on a few things. Chapter 1, the verse 16. The verse 22. Chapter 1, the verse 22. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law with her, which returned out of the country of Moab. And they came into Bethlehem in the beginning of the barley harvest. Everybody say the barley harvest. Say the beginning of the barley harvest. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm going to speak into someone's life right now. You see, in the time when the husbands were dying, in the period when their father-in-law had died, unfortunately, Ruth found herself hoping to marry from one of the children of Bethlehem. The Bethlehemite has heard all the blessings about them, has heard that those children of Israel are blessed. This woman Ruth decided to marry one of the children, and unfortunately, the people he thinks are supposed to be blessed, the people he thinks are supposed to be carrying the mandate of God, carrying the promises of God, carrying the Abrahamic covenant, the people who have got the blessing of Jacob upon them. Ruth decided that, look, I want to just relinquish my background. My coming from a land where there are idolaters, I'm coming from a land where they look down upon women. I'm coming from a land where the women are immoral. I'm coming from a land where we don't have a good history. I'm coming from a land where we don't have a good reputation, but I want to marry somebody from a good tribe. And then Ruth decided to marry from a good tribe, but little did she know that you may have a blessing, but if the location is wrong, you may have a blessing, but if you don't dwell in the right location, you will lose your sons. And she married into a blessed nation, but the people who he met were not carrying the unction, because when you shift from a certain location, the grace over your life may also be shifted. And the Bible says that husband died and decided to follow. But look at this, the Bible says they got into Egypt, they got into Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley season. What am I talking about? When she was actually losing, when she has lost the husband, in actual fact it was sowing time back in Bethlehem at the time that she was losing everything, going through a period of being a widow, at the time when she was crying in the morning, when am I going to have a next husband? At the time that she was looking for an opportunity, that the next person that will come into my life and bring a breakthrough, at the time she was busy soaking her pillow with tears, like someone I'm speaking into right now. Right now you're probably feeling frustrated. You probably walk out of your house and come back empty. You go out looking for a job, nothing comes out. You go out, your boss abuses you, your friends look down upon you. But ladies and gentlemen, in the time that Ruth was crying, it was sowing time in Bethlehem. In the time that she was feeling
dry. God has employed laborers for to be planting things for her. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to speak into your life that the time of mourning, though God is saying your mourning each year is a seed that is gone onto the ground. Each time of frustration, God has employed people to work on your behalf. Each time of loneliness is a period when God is working behind the scene. All you can only see it, but because you cannot see it, I see God employ angels working on your behalf. God employ men of God working on your behalf. As you cry, there is a friend praying for you. As you are sitting there thinking that you don't fit for purpose, there is someone here praying just to have you. And I believe that Boaz, it was time for harvest, but my Bible says they went into Jerusalem. They went into a time when the barley was harvested. When was it sown? I don't know, but I see somebody about to step in. You are stepping into a period where you don't know that business was started. You don't